know, I look out tonight, and this is just an incredible crowd. I think about the Nether Providence class, 1975. It's amazing, and I was worried about tonight because I was worried that, like, I would show up and I would look really old to people, you know, and people would look really old to me. And I have to tell you that after looking out here, that's definitely the case. I think, guys, maybe between all of us, we have enough hair for one toupee. I think that's about it. And you know, the thing else that I feel, my self-esteem is really hurting tonight because I see all the accomplishment in the room. So many people have accomplished so many things, and I mean, like Joe McGuire, he's a doctor. You know, the guy's a retina specialist. And my friend Eddie Robbins, he's a general manager of an international trucking firm. Dan Schatzberg owns a massage parlor. Chiropractor. And I feel really, I just feel bad because I've been working the last 20 years on the Walt Whitman Bridge as a toll collector in an exact change lane. So, and I'm standing at the cocktail party, and old friend comes up to me and he says, "God, I haven't seen you in 20 years, Steve. You know, what are you doing? What do you think your greatest accomplishment is?" And I thought about it, and I said, "I think it's that my prostate has grown by about 3 centimeters." And I think back to high school, and I think back to some of the teachers that we had, and I don't know if you remember just a couple of these teachers, but do you remember Mr. Renzulli? Does anybody remember Vince Renzulli? Yeah. He was like really conservative. He was a fascist, I think, back then. And maybe he just looked conservative, but we were young and everybody was liberal then. And I remember him, and it's been 20 years, and since that time, over the last 20 years, he's gained about 75 pounds. His hair has gone gray, and he changed his name to Newt Gingrich. So I don't know if you've seen him in the news. Anybody remember Senor Farrell? See, this friggin' guy's name was Rich Farrell. I found out a couple of years ago this guy's name is Rich Farrell and lives in Chester County. I couldn't believe it. But, you know, he was incredible. I mean, he was odd. He was a little bit strange, but if you listened to him, you learned some things. You had to really listen, and I listened to him, and I'll tell you something. I went to Mexico a couple of years ago, and I finally had a chance to use what I learned, and I'm sitting in a restaurant, and I needed to order dinner, and I went, bing! And when I needed to use the bathroom, I went, bing! I was institutionalized in Mexico for a couple of weeks. There's another teacher. Does anybody remember Miss Higler? A couple of guys are applauding. Miss Higler, she was like the original Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate. She would like come into class in these like mini skirts with black stockings. You remember that? She would prop herself up in front of the class on her desk. And this was 20 years before Basic Instinct. And she would like cross her legs, and all the guys would cross their legs at the same time. It was amazing. Couldn't believe her, Miss Higler. But you know, when I was going through high school, the thing that really I'll never forget is that I couldn't get the girls. I mean, skinny, funny Jewish kids did not get the girls. And if you asked a teenage girl what she wanted back then, she said, "I want a guy with a sense of humor." And then she'd date like Joe McGuire or something. So, I mean, I thought by being funny, you know, and telling jokes and writing jokes and doing ridiculous skits that I would get the girls, but, you know, it didn't work. So I decided, all right, I'm going to play the drums, because drummers get the girls, right? So I played the drums. I ended up, and I'm not making this up, I ended up playing congas in an all-black band with Gene King's brother. And the band was called Zamfuji. And we used to provide the musical soundtrack for the race riots between A House and C House. That was really a lot of fun. But you know something else? I have to tell you, I couldn't get the girls, and I don't understand it because, I mean, I was a red-blooded American teenager. I mean, I wanted Nancy Flandreau like everybody else. And, you know, 20 years before there was Baywatch, there was Nancy Flandreau, Kim Daly, Anne-Marie Florio, and Jeannie Taylor.
Wrong. Wrong.
Wrong. And I just didn't have it. I couldn't do it.
Kim Daly.
What?
Lisa Friday.
Lisa Friday, Kim Daly. Anyone else want to throw out a few?
Throw out.
Okay. So I was like, I knew these women were out of my league, but you know, one time I saw Nancy Flandreau. She was standing by her locker by herself. So I decided I'd get up as much courage as I can, and I went over to her locker. I said, Nancy, listen, I thought if you're free on Friday night, maybe we would go to Pinocchio's Pizza. Get a pizza, and I'll never forget Nancy. She went, and I somehow had the presence of mind to say to Nancy, I don't know how I did, but I said, Nancy, you know, I had this vision, this feeling that 20 years from now, you're going to be married to a guy whose family owns the townhouse. And you're going to be having dinner there one night, and I'm going to be the entertainment. And I will get even. I'm only kidding. Nancy was a very nice lady. I hate you, Tim, but she's really good. I want to leave you tonight with this little incident that happened to me. I have to tell you that, you remember when Alex Haley went back to his roots? Well, I went back to my roots. I went on an archaeological expedition to the Catskills. I was digging for jokes. I was digging for jokes because I was looking for the world's oldest joke. I knew it had to be there, and I knew it had to be buried in the Catskills. And I went up to the mountains, and I'm digging away, and I'm digging, and all of a sudden I dig up a piece of paper, and I'm excited. I open it up, and it's like, there once was a man from Nantucket. I took that, I threw it out. I said, that's not it. I kept digging and digging, and I was digging up puns. I was digging up haiku. I dug up like an old script from Who's the Boss? And I kept going and going, and finally I unearthed this beautiful parchment. And I looked at it, and I knew it was 30 million years old. I mean, it was still in Henny Youngman's handwriting. And this was the world's oldest joke. And I saved it, and I framed it, and I put it on my wall. And it goes like this. The caveman walks into a psychiatrist's office. And he says, Doctor, nobody will talk to me. The psychiatrist says, next. Thank you very much. I've had a lot of fun. Happy 20.